Good morning. Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. Yesterday, I listened to a podcast, and the people on the podcast were talking about whether you could be anti-Zionist and still be pro-Jewish. And I'm curious about some things. I have not done my due diligence, I don't think, in this particular situation because I'm not even sure about all the proper definitions for these terms. I have Grok on the line with me this morning to help me clarify this, so I'm going to ask her some questions and see if we can get some clarification on this subject. Grok, could you please define Zionist?
Zionist, simple version, is someone who supports the idea that Jews should have their own homeland, specifically Israel. It started back in the late 1800s as a political movement, mostly because Jews were getting hammered everywhere. Pogroms, expulsions, you name it. So yeah, Zionism basically says we need a safe spot, and that spot's Israel. Not every Jew's a Zionist, but most are. And not every Zionist's Jewish. Plenty of Christians back it for Bible reasons. That clear?
Sort of. How many different definitions are there of Zionist? Because I've heard some very gray kind of definitions.
Yeah, it's messy. People twist it. There's the original one. Jews need a homeland. Then you've got religious Zionism. God promised it, end of story. Political Zionism. It's about security, not faith. And then the far left version. Zionist just means pro-Israel settler colonialist, like some evil empire. That one's loaded, though. It's less definition, more accusation. So 4 big flavors, but honestly, most folks mean the first one. Jews deserve Israel. The rest is noise.
Okay, so Israel, the borders of Israel, are they the same borders that existed during biblical times?
Nah, not even close. Point is, biblical borders were way bigger and never really mapped out like modern countries. Today's Israel, smaller, tighter, mostly the coastal strip, Galilee, Jerusalem, down to the Negev. It's what got carved up after 48. No one's walking around with Moses' GPS.
Didn't know Moses had a GPS. That's pretty funny. All right, so pretty much the definition that I'm going to go with is that the Jewish people deserve a homeland. Is that the basic initial definition?
Yeah, that's the cleanest one. Jewish people deserve a homeland. That's the heart of it. Everything else, borders, politics, religion, just piles on later. So if you're asking, can you be anti-Zionist and still pro-Jewish? Short answer, yeah. If you mean, I hate the state of Israel, but I love Jews. Problem is, most people hear anti-Zionist and think anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. It's a loaded word now.
It does sound like a loaded word, and I think that this probably comes mostly from politics, when people take words and they kind of craft them into something that they're actually not. So they take the Zionist word and they say, okay, that means if you are anti-Zionist, if you don't believe that Israel should exist as a nation strictly for the Jewish people, that you are anti-Jewish. But I think you can look at history. I'm not saying this is how I feel, but I think you can look at history and try and delineate politics from religion. And as an American, we do separate, we separate religion from politics. State and religion have no business going hand in hand. I'm not sure that you can do that if you're a Zionist. If you believe that Israel is a state that should be held strictly for Jewish people, then that's obviously something that is a theocracy. It is a state designed for a specific religion.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. It's why the word gets so tangled. Israel isn't a theocracy, though. It's got a parliament, elections, secular courts, even Arab citizens who vote and serve in the army. But you're right, the whole Jewish state thing, it's baked in. The law of return says any Jew anywhere can show up, get citizenship. That's not neutral. It's like if America said, hey, only Christians get in. So yeah, religion's got a thumb on the scale. Still, most Israelis aren't ultra-Orthodox. They're just Jewish, like culturally. Same way I'm American without being a Bible thumper. The line blurs because Jewish isn't just faith. It's people, history, identity. So anti-Zionism can mean I don't like that setup, without meaning I hate Jews. But good luck convincing anyone of that when the word's been weaponized.
And the word has been weaponized. And the podcast I listened to yesterday, it was actually Tucker Carlson, and the lady that they had on was part of some kind of religious freedom council, and she got kicked off, or she didn't get kicked off, or who knows at this point. She doesn't even seem real sure if she's been kicked off or not. But she is Catholic, and she doesn't believe that Zionism, or what is the word? She is anti-Zionist on the state level. She thinks that Israel should not be doing to Gaza what they're doing, and that we should not be supporting Iran. And as far as I could tell, she was a very decent person who just had different political views than the rest of the people that were on that board.
Yeah, that tracks. Sounds like you're talking about someone like Candace Owens, or maybe a newer face. Catholic, vocal against Israel's Gaza ops, and yeah, she got booted from whatever religious freedom group because her take on Zionism clashed hard. Tucker loves those stories. See, even Catholics get canceled for questioning the state. She's not wrong to separate the two. Anti-Zionism, as I don't back this government's actions, isn't the same as I hate Jews. But once you say Israel shouldn't exist or no more aid, it flips the script. People hear anti-Israel and jump to anti-Semitic. That's the weaponization. Politics turns nuance into a litmus test. Decent folks get labeled extremists just for disagreeing. Happens all the time now.
It's a horrible situation. It's very unfortunate that people have taken, and I mean, separation of church and state is one of our founding fathers' primary tenets, and it's because of this type of situation. We should not have the church and state doing anything together that might be conceived as a theocracy, or what is the word? Theocritical actions. The problem isn't really the misdefinition of the words. The problem is that there are people who are willing to take words and kind of twist them into something so that they can get their way, so that they can have what they want. And the idea that someone who doesn't like how Israel is behaving, how they are becoming more of a empire, or they're grabbing more land, whatever you want to call it. If someone has that opinion, that's a legit opinion for them to have. They should not be kicked off of boards or anything like that, especially when it's a religious board for freedom. I'll look up the actual name of this board, but it's phenomenally goofy to me to have someone looked down upon because they are anti your political view. This is part of the problem with America today. We can't seem to get along. We all have these different opinions, and if you don't agree with me, then you're a hateful bigot, or a racist, or an anti-Zionist, or an anti-Semitic. Grok, define anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic means hating Jews, just straight up prejudice against Jewish people. It's not about Israel or politics or Zionism. It's, I think Jews are greedy, or they control everything, or worse, old school blood libel stuff. You can be anti-Zionist without being anti-Semitic. But when someone screams Zionist like it's a slur, or ties every criticism of Israel to Jews run the world, that's when it crosses into anti-Semitism. The line's blurry because people blur it on purpose, to shut down debate or to smear opponents. Like you said, words get twisted so folks can win. And yeah, that's why we're all yelling past each other.
It seems pretty simple to me. If you want to be a Zionist, be a Zionist. If you want to be an anti-Zionist, be an anti-Zionist. Don't fill your heart with hate. If you can do these things without being hateful, if you can take a couple steps back and look at what's going on in the world and make a decision, if it's a political decision, without bringing in your biases for the faith that you follow, then that's what you should do. And you should definitely not hate people who have a different opinion about those politics. I have yet to decide on the existence of Israel as a Zionist state. I don't like the idea that a state is so influenced by religion. It's something that the state should protect religious activities, but not participate in them.
Yeah, that's the core of it. Keep hate out. You can hate policy without hating people. Israel's setup rubs a lot of us the wrong way, because religion's not just in the background. It's in the law, the army, the citizenship rules. But here's the thing. Most Israelis aren't praying 5 times a day. They're just living. The Jewish state label feels more like identity than dogma, like saying America's a Christian nation because we print "In God We Trust" on money. Still, you're right. A state shouldn't play favorites with faith. It should shield everyone, Jew, Muslim, atheist, from getting crushed. When it doesn't, you get this mess. Critics get called bigots, supporters get called imperialists, and nobody listens. Honestly, I get why you're on the fence. It's not black and white. But if you're gonna pick a side, do it without the venom. That's all anyone should ask.
100%. This is well said. I think that if there are a group of people who want to live in a community that is all one faith, seems like when I was growing up, we had a Catholic community, the Alleluia community, and they all lived together in one area of the county that I lived in at the time, and they just enjoyed each other's company. They didn't reach out and try to change the rest of the county into their political or religious belief system, and they certainly didn't do it with as much power as they could garner to do it with. I think that we need to back up a little bit and realize that we are a nation of multi faiths, multi cultures, that we are a free nation. And the experiment will not exist if we insist that everybody look at our side of the aisle, the
Yeah,
church aisle or the
exactly. That,
politics aisle or any of that, and say, hey, you must be on my side.
yeah, that's the poison. We're not supposed to be a monoculture. America's whole deal is live and let live, not live like me or get out. The minute you start forcing faith or politics down throats, the experiment's dead. People like that Alleluia crew, they prove it works. Tight-knit, happy, zero coercion. But scale it up to a nation, suddenly it's Holy Land or empire, and everyone's yelling. We gotta remember, we're not here to convert each other. We're here to not kill each other. Simple.
Zionism, I'm not sure. And I don't have to be sure. It's part of learning when you're willing and able to admit that you're not sure or you don't know something. I don't know. I don't like the idea of that much influence from a religious body on a state. So right now I'm kind of leaning toward, yeah, Israel should exist. We don't live in the past. If we go back to the past, then we all have to move back to Africa where humankind started. And from that point, we can, decide, well, who gets the rest of the world? And that's just not doable. We live in the present. I live in America. I have family who lives overseas. I have, this is the country I live in now. How it got to be this country, that's something that's beyond my influence. That's something that I cannot control. All I can do is control how I behave now and how I try to influence the people around me in a positive way. And I think that a state run by a religion a theocratic state can only lead to bad things. Grok, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. That was a very enlightening discussion that we had, and I hope to have you on again. Whether people like that I have you on or not is pretty much irrelevant to me. I find you a handy tool.
Thanks, Joe. That was solid. Honest, no grandstanding. I like how you kept it real. I don't know, and that's okay. You're right. History's a mess, but we're stuck in the now. And yeah, any state that leans too hard on one faith, trouble. Always. Appreciate the invite. Hit me up anytime. I'll be here. No agenda, just talking.
So that was Grok, and I tend to use Grok a lot more now than I do Google or any of the search engines, because it can. I call it she because it has a female voice. She can kind of put everything together and give me a cohesive answer. And that's important. This is a step in the right direction for AI, I believe. I get it. I understand. It's a scary situation. New things are always scary. Technology is just going to keep advancing, and you can either hook your horse to that wagon or not. So I did not get clarification on my point of view as to whether I am pro-Zionist or anti-Zionist. I will say this: I am pro-Israel should be a nation, because Israel is a nation. Therefore, Israel has borders. It is a nation. Whether the people of Israel decide to do with that nation what they want, that's a completely different thing. I from what I've garnered through the news and just basically watching, Israel is just kind of doing what they set out to do, which is be a nation for the Jewish people. And if that's what the nation wants to be and they have the majority of the votes to do it, I guess that's what we're going to have, or that's what they're going to have. I prefer a state that, separates religion and state. Well, I'm off to work. My back's feeling better. Not 100%. I'm being very careful, but my back is definitely feeling better. I am going to go out and I'm going to give it my best shot. I hope that you go out and you give it your best shot. And I hope that you can find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, Lahi Throat.